All right. So first and foremost, yeah, this isn't clickbait. It's not. It's a question. And I have been told to quit Star Citizen since basically 2015. I've been told by members of the community team or member of the community team, pretty much. I've been told by members of this community to quit since basically I started, since I had any relevancy whatsoever, because I was opinionated and people didn't like those opinions, which is totally normal, right? This time feels a little bit different. I feel frustrated. I feel all these things around the what I believe to be very bad choices made. And I I got a post on a video that I posted on the React channel, or the TV channel or whatever, which I haven't been posting on. I haven't been doing anything because I haven't been motivated and I haven't been happy. Uh, I don't know how many of you know, but I had like an infection in my mouth and I had to have a tooth pulled. It was not fun for the last couple weeks. It's not fun right now. So that's part of things, but that is a very small part of things. Most of what I'm dealing with is frustration from um, the what Star Citizen might become, not what it's becoming, what it might become. And I read a post yesterday, and I normally would not read something this long because I think it's just ridiculous. Sometimes, usually they start out normal and then go insano. And for whatever reason, I decided to read this, and I want to read it to you because I think it represents very well what you might be feeling about me. As far as the YouTube people go, I haven't been posting very much, so I don't know how many of you have actually seen this, but I think this resonates to be completely true, and I'll let the comments on the screen determine if they actually are. This is from Faith Ev 8415, and they said, Mike, since you brought up item recovery at the end of this video, I'll say this since you mentioned elsewhere that you feel your streams have been bad and your channel is dying. I don't feel the channel's dying, but I feel like if I continue on this path, it will. For someone who has enjoyed your streams until very recently, here's some advice you can take or leave. You being critical of Star Citizen has never been an issue, as long as criticism has been fair and justified. It's easier for people to relate to your experiences when you're stating observable reality. Okay? But when you start focusing heavily on your personal opinions, I always have, first off, on gameplay, when you're shitting on the game incessantly because the design differs from your personal desire, this is about, obviously, the item recovery, you instead come across like a whining baby. And it is extremely unappealing to be an audience member for those shows. First and foremost, how have you felt about these things? Number one, those are my opinions. And I'm not getting one guide. I honestly want... I think that this one guy is absolutely correct on a lot of things. Slightly off, but mostly correct. I've always talked about my personal opinions about gameplay, and this is not... this is definitely observable reality that the Tier 0 implementation is really bad, and there's a lot of better things that they could have done. Now, one thing that I have observed is that they have been posting... they've been posting new patches very often, not necessarily making any changes in the PTU, which is where my concerns are starting to come from. But whatever this crappy Tier 0 implementation is, it could change in 4.1.1 in reality, right? You've also allowed your dislike for item recovery to turn you into a troll in-game. This is where it's completely unfair. Killing people on site, instantin no less. I have done that at Hathor because you kind of have to, and that's all I've done. So I'm a little confused by this one. Rather than trying to communicate with them like you used to, while using item recovery as an excuse. Jumping in front of players who are waiting in line in a shop terminal. Okay. that was just a joke. But yeah, I did that yesterday, and this person is like really upset about it. It was literally just a joke. And then making jokes about spitting on players for purchasing like cash shop stuff when I've purchased them myself, which he points out here. Two of you are like myself. It is hard to tell if this is you acting in anger or simply showing your true colors. It was neither. It was a joke. But okay. I guess I'm a very good actor. It is surprising to viewers that might not like. Is it surprising that viewers might not want to support your channel like that? It's a joke. Take it easy. But I talked about how I do believe this change is going to force me down the route that I tend to go down in all MMOs. I've talked about this plenty of times. I started out as a crafter. There's tons of like competition in crafting, and there's tons of leveling, things to work on. There's lots of layers to crafting in MMOs usually, and I find that to be incredibly exciting, incredibly fun, incredibly enjoyable, and incredibly just relaxing, peaceful. All those things that make the community aspect of MMOs so fun. I think that everything around item recovery, from what we've heard, does the opposite of that. It doesn't create any community. It doesn't do any of those things. It simply is a solo MMO experience, which is what most MMOs are nowadays. And then people say, well, these are the successful MMOs. They're the only MMOs, right? So you kind of would want Star Citizen to be a little different on some things, and that was one of the ones that I would want them to be different on. Then what I typically get into when I'm bored of that is straight up like PK, piracy, not even like competitive PvP, just PKing, which is, I think, the most competitive PvP at times, because it usually is a simple fight that is easy to win against a player who is, not very defensive or defendable or anything like that, but then it usually turns into a very intense and difficult fight, or a situation where you're 1 and they're 5, and can you outsmart them in this chess kind of game? So that's where I was. And then yesterday I tried to jump into the single weapon elimination, and I was horrible with the new gun, and I feel like I can't even PvP anymore. And like, I'm just like, what am I going to do in this game? And I was super frustrated. And that's kind of where this response comes from. Now, he says, if you are really concerned about your streams and channel, then I would suggest rapid attitude adjustment. I think the way they're speaking is you probably need an attitude adjustment a little bit as well. But I want him to know that the way he spoke, like, it went right to where it needed to be, and I heard everything, and it resonated with me, because sometimes I just need to be yelled at, and I don't think a lot of people do that, and this person did, and I think it's really helping. So again, if you're really concerned about your streams and channel, then I would suggest a rapid attitude adjustment, because your attitude has been really poor of late. 100% true. 100% true. And I've allowed the choice of this tier 0 implementation of item recovery to just literally take everything that was happy about me and just throw it away over a video game. I felt like a literal loser yesterday. Like, just I have felt like a loser before, but I never felt more like a loser than I did yesterday. If the only thing that was holding your interest in Star Citizen was the ability to loot other players' equipment and the prospect of a player-driven economy, then maybe this just isn't the game for you, and you should stop torturing yourself and your viewers. You can turn the stream off at any time if you feel like you're being tortured, but let's talk about that for a second. Where does my frustration come from? It comes from the fact that I do think the player-driven economy is completely dead with these choices. I don't think that there will ever be a situation where crafting will be as exciting, as interesting, as advertised at CitizenCon 2024, and even at 2023 with the blueprints. But if the only thing that was holding your interest in Star Citizen was the ability to loot other players, who doesn't like looting? Okay, who doesn't like looting? I love looting, and when the value of looting goes down incredibly, but it is not just that. I have very, very clearly expressed my opinion around the idea of engagements in ships and engagements in FPS need to end. And the new Tier 0 system, and I've been here for 12 years. Been here for 12 years. I've been a partnered Star Citizen streamer on Twitch for 10 years. This month. I think this day. I think tomorrow it might say, your stream anniversary or whatever. The idea that a Tier 0 implementation might change quickly is not a thing. This might stick for a while. And if it doesn't change quickly, I think it turns all the PvP engagements in Star Citizen into a less enjoyable one. Okay? And that's it. And it's incredibly frustrating to see Star Citizen take so many steps forward and then a massive step backwards in some ways, right? I think most people agreed dropping a weapon and not dropping armor is totally fine. They made no attempt to make these changes in the PTU whatsoever. Once again, that may change in the 4.1. And I think this post helped me take that step back and go, it's just going to be a month, potentially. Okay? But let's talk about the player-driven economy. What brought me to Star Citizen? The economy video. And the idea of me mattering in the game. Now, the economy video turns out was not very good. And I don't find selling items to NPCs interesting at all. I think it's incredibly boring. I mean, go play No Man's Sky then, right? Or go play Elite Dangerous then. And I don't find those games interesting for that reason. So if I'm upset because a player-driven economy sounds like it's not going to be a thing anymore when they excited me so much over the last 2 years, I think that's a bit justified. But this commenter doesn't, and I think it's more about my attitude and less about my feelings. And that's I think that's really important, right? And then they say, well, perhaps blunt. I mean all of this in the most helpful way possible, as I've always enjoyed your content, at least until recently. I hope something in here helps. That's a person who actually cared enough to write that. This isn't a person who's trying to change the way I think. This isn't a person who's trying to tell me how I'm wrong in a YouTube comment and go, just absolutely crazy. This is someone who's trying to get through to me because they enjoy and they want to keep watching and all those things. And I'm curious how you feel. And do you resonate with this guy? Do you feel the same way that they have? I don't know if people on YouTube will, but yeah. And then after reading this, I turned my stream off early yesterday. Incredibly frustrated. I've never felt that way in my entire life, ever. I felt like, the walls were crumbling in on me. Like every decision I've ever made in my life has led me to be here, and they were all a mistake. And PC 101 posts on YouTube, streams on Twitch. After not being able to do Hathor, after nothing about the Volt rifle being enjoyable, messaged me and said, hey, the server we were on went down. A brand new server came up. There's only 6 of us on here. And I just off stream played with Space Cutlet, PC 101, and friends, and just did the Hathor loop. And it was fun. It was enjoyable. We did it twice. Lots of bugs still with the Karenite. But aside from that, was pretty enjoyable. Didn't run into too many major issues, and I got to do it and I got to enjoy it. And I just messaged PC. That's another reason why I'm talking about this. Other people who I've been cool with in the community for a while, reaching out to me and trying to help me feel better, right? And that was That was really nice. And then after that, I took a nice long break, watched FP1 and FP2 of the Australian Grand Prix, and I also watched qualifying today. And then I logged on with my org mates at around 8, 9 p.m. And what they've been doing is just ERT bounties in a Polaris. And then ERT bounties, I don't know if you know, but they have corundum and they have copper on them. And those are the supply or die mission items in Stanton. So just thousands of SCU of these things. And that was the most fun I've had in Star Citizen in a long time. And it was just simple. It was just a bunch of guys hanging out and enjoying each other's company / enjoying some of the aspects of the game. And it was relatively smooth. You know, the worst bug we had was supporting on a couple boxes, right? And so, yeah. Should I quit SC? No, probably not yet. But should I quit my attitude about the way I'm feeling now and trying to get back to what's fun again? I mean, I haven't posted a normal react in forever. I haven't posted just talking about games and what I enjoy about them and all those things. I haven't done any of that in forever. I haven't posted a guide. I haven't done anything that I set out to do this year for various reasons, and whether they're real life reasons or content creation reasons. And well, I can't quit until I do some of that at the very least. And I can't quit because one patch is bad. I said this multiple times. It's my turn, where a lot of people have felt this feeling about Star Citizen that I'm feeling now. But I do think this is a major problem, and I will always express that, and I will always repeat it over and over and over again. But what value do I provide to the Star Citizen community? I don't know if I provide any value to the overall community, and I need to do better with that. But whatever little community I've created here, I hope the value is opening your eyes, right? And I've been around for a long time, and I see the glaring issues sometimes. And this right now is a glaring issue. I mean, immediately after doing Tier 0, they're selling racing suits with guns. You don't need a gun with a racing suit. If they didn't sell the gun with the racing suit, you can argue that from a financial perspective, there's no need to keep the guns on your ship or on your suit when you die, right? But they felt that they needed to do, like, this is 100% a monetization decision, nothing else. It's very clear. The way they chose to do it is 100% a monetization decision. But there is absolute value in keeping your armor or even keeping your guns to many players. And I have expressed that multiple times. But the pendulum swung way in one direction, and it needs to come back towards the middle, maybe not all the way in the middle, but towards the middle to kind of please more people and have the game be enjoyable for everyone potentially. But that's where I want to leave it. So should I quit Star Citizen? One day, if things continue in this direction, yeah, probably, because then it's probably not the game for me. But I still think I have a lot left to give to continue sharing what I love about MMOs and what I love about games. I think many of the content creators in the space right now don't play MMOs, never played MMOs, and just don't get it. And I think that they're here for the wrong reasons. And I think that they're here for themselves exclusively and not for a really good game for a lot of other people. And I think that that's where my value has always been, is I think I've been pretty genuine and pretty honest about what would make the game best for everyone, and usually fighting back against the really, I guess, wealthy people in the community that think that their money decides what direction the game should go in. And And I've always fought against that and said, if CIG focused on making a good game, then they would have an endless pool of money. And I think that they just made a decision that in the short term is going to benefit them, but in the long term is going to hurt them. And yeah. SaltEMike, what about taking a break from it rather than quit and come back in a year time? What? I'm just going to end there. That would be the dumbest decision of all time. If I am going to take a year break, then you should just never come back. There's no point at that point from a content creator perspective. It's either you slowly transition into other things or you just quit. And it's very clear, like, you've never made content before or anything like that, which is not a knock on you or anything, but it's just, that's really bad advice. Trust me. I just look around you and other content creators that have taken breaks and where they are. But yeah, that's literally how you kill your channel. And I have no desire to kill my channel necessarily, but I think the question I had to ask myself is, one thing I haven't done is take a break, in the sense of, just play other games. We played Death Stranding last year. That was a great little break from Star Citizen. There's other games I can enjoy and play this year, right? But taking a break for a year is not the right decision. But taking a little break and enjoying other games for a little while, there's nothing wrong with that, right? There's nothing wrong with that at all. But a year off of playing Star Citizen just wouldn't make sense from a channel standpoint. But I'm not here for my channel. I might be full-time. I might make money off of this, so on and so on and so on. But I don't think people understand that. Again, I've been here for 10 years. 8 of those, I barely made any money, and I did it because I enjoyed it. I always had the desire to get here, like every creator you've ever talked to that is not full-time, all desires to be where I am now. And a lot of them don't do the right things or aren't willing to do the right things to get here. And what I'm doing, and what this commenter is telling me, is that I'm doing all the wrong things to stay here. And they're right. So I think what I need to do is kind of get back to what was fun again. And it's going to be really hard in Star Citizen because I don't find 4.1 fun. In a lot of ways, I do not find it fun. But I think I can find a few things that are fun for a little while, and then we'll see how things progress over the year. And then, over time, I'll slowly either fade out or phase out into something else or fade into the distance or whatever. But it's not a decision that should be made right this second. I think I still have a lot to give. And that's all I really wanted to say, is that I think I still have a lot to give. I still think there's so many goals that I haven't achieved yet. And still a lot more fun to be had. One crappy patch is not going to send me out of here. I've been around for a really long time. I can have a little bit more patience. I think just the general pain that I've been in and things like that have probably made the frustrating way more frustrating, and that's all. That pain is generally subsided at this point, and now it's about how to show them that this tier 0 and 1 and 2 implementations are not the best choices, and that they can make a better one, and they have the time to do that. On top of that, just continue to show what in the positive way, like what I love. If you continue to show what you love, then that makes things a lot easier than constantly talking about what you hate. Right? And that's something that I don't think the haters of this channel or myself personally ever choose to see or ever choose to comment on, is that if you continuously show what you love, that's when I started getting traction or interactions with community members better and devs and all those things. The idea of it's not always giving positive feedback, but it's just giving feedback in a better way. And the way I've been giving feedback for the last week or so has not been good, which is why I haven't posted on YouTube. It's just like, this isn't helping anybody. This is just stupid. And yeah. So, yeah, that's where that's at. How much do you still enjoy putting together Monday Week in Review? Those are amazing. For a while there, I hated it. It's gotten a lot easier because I wake up every morning at 4. I sit down and I do all the work for that. But the last 2 weeks, because I've been feeling so shitty, I have not done that. And that's the other part of it, kind of feeling the pressure there. And there's also something else going on there that's really bothering me. And I'm going to need to get that off my chest with someone. And then we'll figure that part out. But so that's like this other bit of pressure that you'll never hear about, that I don't want to share with you. That's just really driving me mad at the moment. And I think if I get that off my chest too, things will be better as well. But again, I think this video's gone on way too long. So say hello or goodbye to YouTube in the Twitch chat. And yeah, I just want to know if that comment resonated with you. And if it did, I'm sorry. And I'll try to do better. But I'm always going to be abrasive. That's never going to go away. It's who I am. But yeah, I'm not going to quit. not yet. But maybe. It just might not be the game for me. And that's it,